Well, thank you everyone for inviting me to speak about my experience as a Clark Atlanta alum and talk about my study abroad experience and my love of foreign languages. My name is Natasha Boyce Brown, and I was a student at Clark Atlanta University from 1996 to 2000, so class of 2000, where I graduated with my degree in business administration and finance. While at CAU, I also was an honors program student, and I was a PPIA fellow. And that program was very important during my matriculation because it was a program that encouraged people of color to enter the careers of public policy or international affairs. And it provided a lot of resources, including a summer institute at the University of Berkeley, and it paid for my master's degree. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But what started all of those dominoes off was studying abroad and having an interest in foreign language. I was able to study abroad while at CAU. I studied abroad uh, in Accra, Ghana, West Africa, for a semester, and I also studied abroad in the Dominican Republic. And during both of those programs, I pretty much focused on the language, Ghanaian language, culture, drumming and dance. And then again in Dominican Republic, I studied and improved my Spanish language skills, and also focused on Dominican culture and history. Okay, so my my overall experience with study abroad was very life changing. I can say that there are very few other experiences in my lifetime that have made me who I am today. Um, my first thoughts of what study abroad and studying a foreign language gives you is an abundance of courage and confidence. For example, there are very few places in the world now that I am not comfortable in traveling, visiting, and possibly living there, for a few months or a few years. And I think studying abroad, it just gives you so many skills, even beyond professionally. Personally, you learn a culture and you learn to adapt. You learn that, the American way is not the only way. And there are pros and cons to American culture, and there are pros and cons to all the other cultures of the world. So you learn to adapt, you learn to persevere, you learn to be very flexible, and you learn how to communicate and connect with people, whether it's in English or in their particular language. So there are just so many beautiful benefits that you can gain from studying abroad and studying another language. Now I have lifelong friends that I have from the host countries that I've visited. I also have lifelong friends that I've made there, other American students studying abroad. Some of my closest friends, we've been friends for the last 25 years since I studied abroad in Ghana, West Africa. They participated in my wedding last year. So you gain so much courage, so much confidence. And a quick story, even here in the United States, for a Southern girl from Charlotte, North Carolina, I was still even getting nervous traveling to New York City. New York City is a huge city. You go to the subway station and there's all these trains going everywhere. And I remember even being maybe 27 years old, going to visit some friends in Brooklyn. And I almost had a mini freak out session in the middle of the subway station. And I said, well, let's take a breath. You've been to all of these other countries in the world. You speak two languages. You can talk to someone and ask them to make sure that you're going in the right direction to make it to Brooklyn. And so I made it on the train, and I had that confidence to know that I can maneuver, I can communicate, and I can travel anywhere. Okay, again, study abroad opened so many opportunities for me. As I mentioned earlier, I was a public policy and international affairs fellow, commonly known as the PPIA fellowship program. And so in participating in that program, I was able to travel and learn more about international affairs at the University of Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. The program also provided me with fellowship funds to complete my master's degree in international development. And so, just that the study of the abroad piece and the foreign language piece, again, opened so many doors. And so after getting my master's degree, I decided to join the Peace Corps, and I was assigned to Bolivia in the Amazon rainforest. So I was there in the Amazon rainforest for 2 years. I supported a group of maybe 30 artisans, women weavers who made purses, hammocks, baby clothes. And it was my job to be their consultant to make sure that they were properly using their resources, that they understood standardization of products and made them the same size, so that they could make sure that they were making money and were able to profit, so they could use that money to pay for their children's school fees and other expenses that they couldn't pay for with being rice farmers. So that experience then led me to have the opportunity to work for the federal government. And so by being a Peace Corps volunteer, you are able to have a 1-year non-competitive eligibility status where you don't have to compete with the entire public for federal jobs. You just compete with people who are already in the federal government. And so now currently I am a small business specialist, small business advocate. So I'm still doing that similar work where I'm working in business, finance, working with people and working with creating, supporting their businesses and helping them get government contracts currently. And I want to emphasize again the importance of learning the Spanish language. While being a Peace Corps volunteer in Bolivia for those 2 years, I had to completely immerse myself in Spanish and strengthen my skills in personal settings and professional settings. I can say that while studying Spanish in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and some other countries that are closer to the United States, a lot of those folks there had English as a second language. So, I could maybe skate by a little bit. But once you're in the middle of the Amazon rainforest in Bolivia, you really have to step up your Spanish language skills to be able to help these ladies build their business, and then also travel with them all over the country to make sure that they're getting properly paid for their products in some of the larger cities. So it was even more in-depth experience and a growth opportunity to work in the Spanish language for that length of time. So I just want to encourage all of the students who are considering studying a foreign language and considering study abroad to really take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. And it's so much easier. I want to say easier. It's so much more accessible to find out information about these experiences actually before you go on them. I know for myself, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there wasn't, Facebook and YouTube and all of this information out there. I had maybe a few travel books from Lonely Planet and, Faith and ready to go. But now, if you're interested in study abroad and travel, you can type in YouTube or Facebook, any country that you're interested in, and a ton of different groups, travel groups of African Americans traveling, women traveling solo, men's groups traveling. All of those groups will drop down for you in YouTube and Facebook. I personally belong to about 5 or 6 travel groups right now, including Nomadness Travel Tribe, Haitian Nomad, Kinaleo, Sisters Traveling Solo. So you have a lot of resources that you have at your disposal. And then if you're interested in joining the Peace Corps, we also have a Return Black Peace Corps group on Facebook that you can join. And there are Return Peace Corps volunteers in the group, but there are also Peace Corps volunteers that are serving currently now that you can speak to directly about their experience in various countries. Again, when I applied to be a Peace Corps volunteer, you had to apply and then just hope, with the lottery that you got a country that you were really interested in. And you only got to give your preference of region. So my preference was Latin America. Now Peace Corps has changed where you can apply directly to a country and apply directly to that program, whether it's health or education. You can apply directly to be an education specialist in Ghana, West Africa. So that's a wonderful opportunity as well. So, take advantage of these resources. You can reach out to me. You can go on Facebook and YouTube and just Google anything and everything that you're interested in, and a wealth of information is available to you. So I just want to say, again, professionally as well, your foreign language and study abroad are just the most valuable skills that you can attain for yourself. Um, I know for my first job in the federal government, my manager was looking for someone that spoke Spanish or another language because we don't do a lot of international traveling, but we do a few trips in the Caribbean or notably Puerto Rico. And so she noticed that there was no one on the staff when they had a large government procurement conference for some of the agencies and some of the government contractors in Puerto Rico. There was no one on her staff to help her maneuver through San Juan. So that was one of the criteria that helped me get the job that I had previously, even though it doesn't require a ton of international travel. And even by learning a foreign language and studying abroad and learning different cultures, you learn how to communicate. So I want to emphasize that even if you're speaking in English, I now work with people all over the nation. I meet people from um, hundreds of countries around the world. And even though we're speaking in English, by learning a foreign language and studying abroad, you learn how to connect with people. You learn how to find common ground, things you have in common. You learn how to empathize and really be able to help problem solve with them when we're working on the challenge of helping them become a successful government contractor. So again, currently as a small business advocate here in the United States, I'm not using my Spanish skills every day. However, I use my Spanish skills whether it's in traveling. I've traveled to over 30 countries. And, my next trip I'm planning to go to is Lisbon, Portugal. So I'm excited to learn a little bit of Portuguese and use my Spanish skills there to hopefully connect with people. And the opportunity is still there. So I'm currently considering changing careers and going back into more international focused agencies and careers. So I'm currently looking for opportunities with the Peace Corps or with USAID and the State Department. So your career would take a lot of turns and twists, but the skills that you learn while studying abroad and learning the foreign language will always be there for you. So you know that you have the skill sets, you have the confidence, and you have the soft skills that you can work anywhere in the world, and you're competitive on a global stage.